Okay, sit back, grab a cuppa. This is going to be a long one, Drumsheds full review. Let's go straight in with the largest room X. This is the main room and it is absolutely huge in there. The only place I can really compare the size of it to is the depot at the warehouse project. Like, it is vast. The ceilings are higher and this particular room has a capacity of 15k, but because it really is so big, it doesn't feel in any way cramped in there at all, which is so enjoyable. It definitely gets more congested in some spots than others, but there are loads of pockets of space amongst the crowd and it's easy to navigate your way through and find one if you do want to get amongst it. Obviously, you may struggle slightly if there's a big group of you, but even at the back and the sides, there was still so much room. The lighting was hitting as well, so the view was amazing pretty much wherever you stood. I also love the fact that you can find space to dance in there no matter who was playing. I've been to places where you can't even get in for certain headliners because it's so rammed, let alone a nice little spot to actually move, so it was brilliant to be able to catch all the sets we wanted to in that respect. There is a bar in room X, which is very handy, but the nearest toilets are in the smoking area, which is a little bit of a trot. There's also a one-way system in place, which despite being needed is laid out a bit awkwardly, so when you come in from the smoking area you can't get back through to anywhere else in the venue without walking through the main room first, so a little bit inconvenient because obviously it's quite busy in there. But to be fair, I would much rather the one-way system in place rather than the crowding that would undoubtedly happen without it. So it is what it is. In terms of the lighting, oh my god, it was absolutely insane. A really impressive mixture of lasers, beams, LED screens, strobes. Like, as you can see here, literally the works, and for the majority of the day it was absolutely going off. Some of the scenes were magical. I can't even describe it, but if you were there you'll know it was absolutely stunning. Those LED screens were brilliant as well because they were super visible across the entire room, so unlike smaller venues where you can't normally see unless you're right at the front, this was great. Room 2 is also a really decent size. It's not as big as room X, but it still has a 5k capacity, which is a crazy number on its own. The ceilings are like low and it has much more of a dark feel to it. It is a sweatbox, very much so, but honestly in the best possible way. Like, it's one of those ones. It does remind me a lot of Inkwell's here at Printworks. Has a very kind of like similar feel to it. Sadly, I didn't think the system was very good in here either. It was okay, but similar to room X, it was very distorted, hard to make out what song was playing a lot of the time. You couldn't really hear the MCs. Like, there was points where 3 tunes were being blended together and you could not pick out a single one at all. It just sounded like noise. It was a bit mad and a bit disappointing. But I do have to say, given the choice, I would personally rather a subpar sound system in exchange for a decent amount of space, which you definitely get here. Obviously, both would be ideal, but for these types of venues, sometimes they are just so big it is an impossibility. Another thing I liked about it here at this venue is that it has a really good mix of ages. If you want to come here and you're thinking like you might be a bit too old or like out of place, honestly, do not even worry about that because there was such a good mix of all ages here, people having like absolute times of their lives. It was brilliant to see. Another thing to note is that it is freezing cold at this venue. Obviously, it's such a huge building, so unless you're in the crowd, you will need a jumper. This is room 3 quickly. It's a lot smaller than the others, and we didn't go back in here sadly, so not much footage, but it looked really decent as you can see. Anyway, you come out the station, venue's literally opposite, no faffing around trying to find it. There's toilets all along the queue line and right outside the station. We got here at 12, so the queue was already quite big, but it did move really quickly. In terms of drinks prices, it was pretty standard kind of London club situation, pretty similar to Printworks if you've been there before. £6 for a beer, £12 for a double mixer, and £3 for a can of water. There is cups at the water refill station, but you can also bring an empty bottle in with you as well. It was really cool walking past this because you could actually get like the scale of the building from the outside. It looked massive, like you just knew it was going to be absolutely sick once you got in there. But once you are in and you get through security and the dogs, you'll enter on ground level into what was previously the IKEA car park. So in here there's a bar, there's lockers, there's more toilets, there's seating, there's a photo booth, a merch stand, loads of bits and pieces in here. And it is good if you want to just come down here and get away from the music and like a little bit of a chill. Lockers, there are thousands of them, so I don't think getting one will be an issue. It's £7 plus a £5 deposit for a small and £10 plus £10 deposit for a large, but this was the queue to secure one at 3 o'clock, so just bear that in mind obviously if you're coming and going to get a locker. When you go upstairs to floor 1, this is where all 3 rooms are and the smoking area. It's so weird walking through what previously would have been the old IKEA. You've got all the old like escalators and stairs, and it doesn't feel like a rave obviously when you're in here at all, and then you walk through the doors and it just like slaps you in the face. It's actually a bit mad. But on this level you have, as I say, all 3 rooms. You've got Z and X in the corner, and then the Y room is behind me. You've got a water refill station here, and I like the fact that all of the rooms are on this floor, so if you do want to change, then you haven't got to walk that far. There's a second room upstairs with an indoor chilling area, which is this here. It had seats, a bar. It's a bit like the upstairs of Printworks, and it was brilliant up there, and there was cubicle toilets as well, so if you don't like the portaloos, that was definitely one to watch out for. Lastly, onto the smoking area. Best class smoking area I've ever experienced, to be honest. So much seating. There was loads of space out there. There was toilets out there as well. Food vendors. They even had nanny bills there, which I was really disappointed I didn't try. And they also have covered seating too, which is handy if it starts raining. It is an absolute jam if you do just want to get outside and chill for a bit. But again, it's very fast, very open. So keep a jumper with you when you go out here because you will freeze. Overall, it is an absolutely amazing venue, and I really, really, really cannot wait to go back here. London truly needed this. Look, this is all the food venues. They had like Thai, bao buns, burgers, chicken wings. It was like a little mini food festival. It was actually brilliant. Yeah, Drumsheds, mate. 10 out of 10. Loved it.